Hi guys, it's Jennibellie. I have here a really cheap supply making tutorial for you. These are going to cost you next to nothing to make because the main ingredient in them is cardboard from a cardboard box, regular old corrugated cardboard, and then what you'll also need is some extra stuff out of the recycling that has a free side to it so that we can add these labels onto them. Then what you need is some rope. I am using rope as a generic term here. This is crochet wool, and you can use string, you can use cord, whatever you have that you can manipulate is going to work fine, but I'm just using that as a generic term, any kind of rope. Then what you need is 3 types of glue. I have here Eileen's tacky glue, I have double-sided dry adhesive, and then what you will need as a definite is PVA glue or gel matte medium. You need a wet glue for this technique as well. Now, what these are great for, I'll show you the stamps. I've got 3 border stamps, then I've got 3 background stamps, a couple of journaling stamps, and then a couple of images. And it was the face that I did in the last video, the tutorial as to how to make a portrait with rope. It was that set me off down this path to make these stamps with rope. So if you want to see how to make a face with the rope, then click on the last video. I'll put a link in the description below. And what these are good for is, like that one, it adds really fun texture into your journals, because when you transfer the image, what it does is it also transfers the rope texture onto the page. So these aren't like a rubber stamp. I would say these are more of an arty tool than they are a crafting tool. So please don't mark the video down just because they're not going to give you an image like a rubber stamp will. That's not the purpose of these. The purpose of these is every time you use them, you're going to get a slightly different texture to them. That's the beauty in them. So I personally don't like using ink. Excuse me. I personally don't like using ink with them because I've only used the StazOn, I have to admit. But I find they give a much lighter effect like this one here, rather than a more heavy build like acrylic will. But I figured out that might be because the StazOn has a very firm foam stamp base to it. And if you use something maybe like this that has a more softer applicator, you'll really be able to get into the nooks and crannies of the rope. There, see. So I reckon anything that's got a soft applicator will work fine with these, but I personally couldn't really use the StazOn with it that well. But what I would do at the end is show you how to use acrylic paint with them via adding the acrylic paint really quickly, really easily, and getting full coverage with it. So I think that is everything. I really hope you guys like it, and in the future I'll probably do a video as to how to create a journal page with this, because I'm really excited to using these in my everyday kind of crafting. And I will see you guys later. Much love to everybody. Bye! Right guys, so first off, get your cardboard. What we are going to do is make the stamp block up, and we do that by layering up cardboard. Now I would recommend 4 layers of cardboard per stamp, because what it does is it allows, that amount of width allows you to really push down on the stamp and give you the same kind of resistance that you get from a foam stamp. Now I had a parcel that already had a double width for me, so I've just cut these out and then I'll just stick them together. And how I stick mine together to make sure that they last forever is I put down dry adhesive on one side, and then I put Eileen's tacky glue down on the other side, and I make sure I get good coverage of it, and then just wedge them together, and there you have your stamp blocks. Okay, so now we're going to add the rope onto our cardboard to make the race section of the stamp. And what you can do is either put the PVA glue down first, as I showed you in the portrait face tutorial, and then just draw with the rope into that, which is how I created this stamp, another face stamp. So if you want to see how to do a face, click over onto that tutorial, I'll put a link up. Or you can do what I'm going to do in this one and put the glue into the pattern first, draw with the glue. That's why I'm going to use Eileen's tacky glue, and then put the rope directly into whatever pattern you've drawn in it. So if you wanted to, you could pre-draw something out and then just go over it with the glue. And this is how I created this stamp here, and if you can see, I've put little pencil lines down because I didn't want it to be perfect, but I kind of wanted the sections to be still width-wise quite accurate, but I made it accurately a little bit wonky on purpose. And what you need to do if you want to create a pattern like this where technically the rope is going to overlap one another is you're going to need to cut it, because you can't have it overlapping, because if you have two layers of the roping points, the stamp won't work right, because the paint will only take to those sections. What you need is the whole surface to be flat and level for the stamp to be functional. So what I did here was I first put down these sections of the rope, and then on this side I just cut the little sections out and stuck them down, and I quite like that because it allowed me to make it a little bit more wonky. Okay, what we need to do now that's very important is we need to seal the rope, because as it is at the moment it's very soft, and if we put ink or paint onto this it's just going to sink directly into the rope rather than the rope being something hard that will resist it, so that you can transfer the image across. So I've just done this one, and as you can see it's just beginning to dry, so it's getting a little bit harder, and that's what we want for our stamp. Right, so now is the time to put our labels onto our stamps, and I'm just using regular bits of cardboard out of the recycling, and I'm going to show you the easiest way I found for inking up the stamps. As I said at the beginning, I don't really rate using inks with them. I prefer using acrylic paint because you get a better coverage, and these two examples here is this way was done by just getting a regular paintbrush and painting onto the actual rope itself, or the way I'm going to show you gives this effect, which is very much shows the texture of the rope. I mean, this is still a nice texture, but it's more heavy, and this one gives more of the, it looks like it was made with rope, which I find quite cool. So what I'm going to do first is just get a brayer and ink it up with acrylic paint. I just have regular craft acrylic paint here, nothing too fancy. And just push down. And giving a bit of resistance to it, because you do need to push it down. There we go. And as you can see, on this board I have cut out this piece here, inked it up here, and that is going to go on the back of this one.